Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS tax relief now available to EDA victims in Pennsylvania. October 15th deadline. Other dates extended to January 3rd. IR 2021-183, September 13th. 2021, Washington. Victims of Hurricane Ida in parts of Pennsylvania now have until January 3rd, 2022 to file various individual and business tax returns and make tax payments, the Internal Revenue Service announced today. The IRS has also provided relief to Ida victims in Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and New York. The IRS is offering relief to any area designated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, FEMA. There's a link to FEMA here, as qualifying for individual or public assistance. Currently, this includes Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, Philadelphia, and New York counties, but taxpayers in Ida-impacted locations in other parts of Pennsylvania subsequently designated by FEMA will automatically receive the same filing and payment relief. The current list of eligible locations is available on the disaster relief page on IRS.gov. So in other words, the relief should be automatic if you're in that zone. The zones may change, and they may most likely increase. And if they were to increase or change in any way, they should be on the FEMA page or on this disaster relief page. So you could take a look at it for more information about it. So we have, quote, during this difficult time, the IRS stands ready to help victims of Hurricane Ida, end quote, said the IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick. Quote, we want people affected by this devastating hurricane focused on their safety and recovery for themselves and their families. To provide assistance now and in the weeks ahead, we have a variety of different types of relief available to help people and businesses affected by this disaster, end quote. The tax relief postpones various tax filing and payment deadlines that occurred starting on October 31st, 2021. As a result, affected individuals and businesses will have until January 3rd, 2022 to file returns and pay any taxes that were originally due during this period. This means individuals who had a valid extension to file their 2020 return due to run out on October 15th, 2021 will now have until January 3rd, 2022 to file. The IRS noted, however, that business tax payments related to these 2020 returns were due on May 17th, 2021. Those payments are not eligible for this relief. So meaning if you were on extension, then you got the deadline at October 15th. We're back to like the normal deadlines, except now you might have the extension in that case. However, you don't have the extension of the time to pay because you needed to pay earlier, and this shouldn't have affected the payment deadline, those two deadlines being different things. So the January 3rd, 2022 deadline also applies to quarterly estimated income tax payments due on September 15th, 2021, and the quarterly payroll and excise tax returns normally due on November 1st, 2021. It also applies to tax-exempt organizations operating on a calendar year basis that had a valid extension due to run out on November 15th, 2021. Businesses with an original or extended due date also have the additional time, including, among others, calendar year partnerships and S corporations whose 2020 extensions run out on September 15, 2021, and calendar year corporations whose 2020 extensions run out on October 15, 2021. In addition, penalties in payroll and excise tax deposits due on or after August 31st and before September 15th will be abated or removed as long as the deposits are made by September 15th, 2021. The IRS disaster relief page, there's a link to that page here, has details on other returns, payments, and tax-related actions qualifying for the additional time. The IRS automatically provides filing and penalty relief to any taxpayer with an IRS address of record located in the disaster area. Therefore, taxpayers do not need to contact the agency to get this relief. In other words, if you're inside the area, it should be basically automatic because they're going to be applying the relief based on the location. However, if an affected taxpayer receives a late filing or late payment penalty notice from the IRS that has an original or extended filing, payment, or deposit due date falling within the postponement period, the taxpayer should call the number on the notice to have the penalty abated. So in other words, if you're in the location, the IRS should apply it automatically. But if you get a letter saying that you got one of these payments or penalties or interest or something that just shouldn't have because it should have been abated given the fact that you're inside the area, the IRS then messed up somehow, right? Then you'd call the number on the letter. There should be a number on the letter, and see if you can get it abated or removed due to the fact that the deadlines should have been extended for you. So in addition, the IRS will work with any taxpayer who lives outside the disaster area, but whose records necessary to meet a deadline occurring during the postponement period are located in the affected area. Taxpayers qualifying for relief who live outside the disaster area need to contact the IRS at 866-562-5227, 866-562-5227, 866-562-5227. This also includes workers assisting the relief activities who are affected with a recognized government or philanthropic organization. Individuals and businesses in a federally declared disaster area who suffered uninsured or unreimbursed disaster-related losses can choose to claim them on either the return for the year the loss occurred, in this instance 2021 return normally filed next year, or the return for the prior year, in this case 2020. So in other words, you could basically say if the thing happened, the disaster happened this year, so 2021, you wouldn't file until 2022 by April 15th generally. Or you could say, I'm going to take it in the 2020 tax return. There could be benefits either way. You might look at, what your tax implications would be if you're eligible to take the loss. In other words, oftentimes it's going to be most beneficial in the year where you have the higher income possibly, because then you might be in a higher tax bracket. And then if you get a deduction for this, then it might be more beneficial in the event that you were in the higher income area, which could be last year, even though we had all the problems last year. But because in this year you might lose obviously income due to the disaster. So a couple things to consider on which year to be taking that into consideration. Be sure to write the FEMA declaration number, which is DR4614. There'll be a link to this so you can see it here if you want to look that up as well. So it's DR4618, DR4618 for Pennsylvania. On any return claiming a loss, see publication 547 for details. There's a link to that publication here. The tax relief is part of a coordinated federal response on the damage caused by Hurricane Ida and is based on local damage assessments by FEMA, FEMA, FEMA. For information on disaster recovery, visit disasterassistance.gov. There's a link to that as well as other links here. There'll be a link to this in the description.